In a small town, there lived a young man named Rahul. He was always shy and struggled with speaking English. For years, he had tried to learn, but felt like he could never speak confidently. English seemed like a distant language, something he could never truly master. But deep inside, Rahul knew that speaking English could open many doors for him. He understood its importance, how people around the world used it to communicate, share ideas, and build better futures. He wanted that for himself too. One day, while sitting by the window, Rahul overheard a conversation between two tourists who were speaking English fluently. He listened carefully and heard how beautifully they connected their words. He felt both inspired and a bit sad, wishing he could do the same. Rahul knew that if he could learn to speak English well, it would change everything for him. He would no longer be afraid of speaking in meetings or to strangers. He would be able to express himself with clarity and confidence. But the question was, how? That night, Rahul decided to make a plan. He promised himself that he would improve his English in just 7 days. He believed that if he could make steady progress every day, it would not only help him become a better speaker, but also increase his chances of finding new opportunities in life. He started the next day by listening to English stories. Listening to stories in English, he soon realized, was one of the best ways to understand how words were put together. It helped him understand the rhythm and flow of the language, which made it easier to speak. Listening carefully, Rahul started to notice the small details, how the speakers stressed certain words, how they paused, and how they used their tone to make their speech interesting. The more he listened, the more he felt like he was absorbing the language, bit by bit. Every day, Rahul practiced listening and repeating the stories. He wasn't worried about making mistakes. In fact, he welcomed them because every mistake taught him something new. With each new word he learned, he felt closer to his goal. But the real struggle began when he tried speaking. Every time he opened his mouth, his words would get tangled. He couldn't remember the right words or phrases. His heart would race, and he felt like giving up. But Rahul refused to give up. He reminded himself that success wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying. Again and again, he understood that hard work was the secret to progress. If he kept working at it, he would get better each day. As the days went by, Rahul's confidence grew. He found it easier to speak, even though he still stumbled at times. He realized that English speaking wasn't about memorizing words. It was about practicing, listening, and connecting with others. In the mornings, Rahul would wake up early to practice speaking in front of the mirror. He would repeat phrases from the stories he had heard, trying to match the tone and rhythm. It wasn't easy, but he knew that this effort would pay off in the end. But there were moments when Rahul felt discouraged. There were days when he felt like nothing was working. He would look at his friends, who spoke English fluently, and feel like he was still so far behind. His heart would ache, and he would wonder if he would ever be as good as them. However, he reminded himself that everyone has their own pace. Some people learn faster, while others need more time. What mattered was that he kept going, even when the road seemed difficult. With each small step, Rahul was getting closer to his dream. Rahul also realized the power of deep thoughts. As he practiced English, he started thinking in English too. He would think about his day, his goals, and even his struggles, all in English. This helped him feel more connected to the language and made it easier for him to speak. On the 6th day, something incredible happened. Rahul was walking down the street when he saw a group of tourists who were lost and needed help. Without thinking, he approached them and offered to help in English. To his surprise, the words came out smoothly. He wasn't nervous or scared. He spoke clearly, and the tourists understood him perfectly. In that moment, Rahul realized that all his hard work had paid off. The feeling of accomplishment filled his heart. He had done it. He had improved his English speaking skills in just 7 days. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to help him communicate effectively. He knew that this was just the beginning. Rahul's story is not just about learning English. It's about the power of persistence, hard work, and belief. He learned that no matter how difficult something seems, if you keep trying and learning, you can achieve your dreams. Through his journey, Rahul discovered that the key to speaking English well isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about listening, practicing, and never giving up. It's about embracing the struggle, because each step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to success. By the 7th day, Rahul felt proud of himself. He realized that learning English was not just about speaking better. It was about growing as a person. He had faced his fears, worked through his doubts, and come out stronger on the other side. As he looked back on his journey, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had not only improved his English, but had also learned the value of perseverance. This was a lesson he would carry with him for the rest of his life. As the days passed, Rahul's confidence in speaking English grew even more. His interactions with people, whether in the market or on the bus, became smoother and more natural. He had stopped worrying about making mistakes and started focusing on getting his message across. This shift in mindset made all the difference. One afternoon, Rahul decided to take a walk by the lake. As he sat by the water, reflecting on his journey, a gentle breeze blew across his face. He thought about all the hard work, the moments of doubt, and the small victories. His heart swelled with pride. He remembered the time when he was too afraid to speak at all, how he would stay silent, watching others engage in conversations, feeling like an outsider. But now, he was no longer just an observer. He was a part of the conversation, a participant, and it felt amazing. Rahul also realized that learning English wasn't just about speaking to others. It was about understanding the world in a different way. As he listened to English stories, he started to see the world from new perspectives. Each story carried lessons about life, love, struggles, and triumphs. The more Rahul listened, the more he understood the beauty of the language. It was not just a tool for communication, but a way to connect with people on a deeper level. It allowed him to share his thoughts, express his emotions, and tell his own story. One evening, as Rahul was practicing his speaking skills, he received a call from his cousin, who lived in a different city. They hadn't spoken in months, but Rahul was eager to catch up. He picked up the phone, his heart racing with excitement. He began speaking in English. Without hesitation, his words flowed easily, and he could hear the surprise and admiration in his cousin's voice. "Rahul, you sound so fluent," his cousin exclaimed. "I'm really impressed." Rahul smiled, feeling a deep sense of happiness. It was moments like these that made all the struggles worth it. He had worked so hard, faced so many obstacles, and now he was reaping the rewards. His dream of speaking English confidently had come true. But even as Rahul celebrated his progress, he knew that the journey didn't end there. He understood that language learning was a lifelong process. There would always be new words to learn, new stories to hear, and new ways to improve. He couldn't stop now. In the days that followed, Rahul made it a point to practice every day. He read books, listened to podcasts, and watched movies in English. He even started writing his thoughts in a journal, practicing his writing skills. Alongside his speaking, one day, Rahul was at a coffee shop, working on his journal, when a stranger approached him. The man sat down next to him and struck up a conversation. He was surprised when Rahul responded in fluent English. "You speak very well," the man said. "How long have you been learning?" Rahul smiled and shared his story. He explained how he had started just a week ago, determined to improve his English, and how his hard work had paid off. The man listened intently, clearly inspired by Rahul's dedication. Rahul realized that his journey wasn't just about him anymore. His story was inspiring others to take action, to push through their struggles, and to believe in their own ability to learn. This gave him even more motivation to continue. As the sun began to set that evening, Rahul sat back and reflected on everything he had achieved. His heart was full of gratitude, and he felt a sense of peace. He had learned so much about English, but more importantly, he had learned about himself. He had discovered the strength to face challenges head-on. He had learned that failure was not the end, but a stepping stone to success. And most importantly, he had learned that with hard work, dedication, and a belief in oneself, anything was possible. The next morning, Rahul woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that his English journey was far from over, but he was excited for the future. There were still so many stories to listen to, so many people to connect with, and so much more to learn. And as he looked out the window at the world beyond, he knew one thing for sure: his struggles, his efforts, and his journey had all been worth it. He was no longer just a learner of English. He was a speaker, a storyteller, and a confident individual who had conquered his fears.